do to make themselves safer?
I've got a very simple ask. There are a number of very simple best practice items. Things like getting yourself good passwords, not using the same password on every site and service, keeping these devices up to date. Check your home wireless network and make sure you're using the latest security standard. I'm going to use a bit of jargon here, but it'll be helpful so you know what to Google to get some tips. Look up WPA2, and if you're really, really unsure, ask an expert. If you can do those simple things, you know, we'll make sure, us Uber geeks, along with lawyers, regulators and the like, that these Internet of Things devices get improved.
James Lyne from the office, talking to Chris Smith. Now, last October, we dedicated an entire month to the future of humanity. We looked at energy.
They were not acting on their own initiative. Here we have two men. We saw those videos acting in a very calculated way. They know what they're doing. I would also give a little credence to their statement to somebody who they didn't shoot as they were making their getaway, who said, "We don't kill civilians." Well, yes, they do. They killed the caretaker and, of course, all the others, but the caretaker in particular, who was not a cartoonist or a journalist when they were carrying out their initial attack. So we have to be very careful with them. And they will be working on their next strategy without any doubt. And trying to seize back the initiative. At the moment, that initiative is with the police, but by declaring they're happy to die, it makes it very difficult to move in knowing that that's possible.
Margaret, thanks very much for the moment. Margaret Gilmore. Let's talk to Karim Amenal, French author.
Strict about it and say you should never use bird calls or bird tapes to get the birds to come in. But I'm not convinced that that's necessarily always the right, that's always totally the right thing to do, because if you play a bird call and the bird comes in and you take a photo of it quickly, you've only disturbed the bird for a minute or so. Whereas if you still want to get that photo and you won't use the call, sometimes the photographer can wander about the bush for a couple of hours and not get that shot. So it's sort of a couple of hours of disturbance or a minute of intense disturbance or more intense disturbance. So I don't think it's a clear-cut sort of moral issue. It's a bit fluid, I think.
I think you're getting thumbs up there, Peter.
Yeah, just on the Carawang issue also.
As I said at the start, I appreciated the words that so many people have said at the governmental and international level about Paris. I think the sentiments are right. I hope they're genuine. I hope they're long-lasting and not just sound bites for the present media cycle. And I also hope it's not too late. Time will tell if all of those three hopes come to fruition or if we're let down. I thank you for your call, David, very much. G'day, Rod.
G'day, Michael.
Yeah.
I'd just like to very quickly mention there's a fellow named David Price Jones who wrote a book called The Closed Circle.
Yep.
Now, if you can get this bloke on and interview him, he will tell you, chapter and verse, how Arabs think. They do not think the same way as Westerners think, and it's
12. Nayaki Link at $5.90 and 2 penny. 7 Eyes Adorable 140. 6 Fizzy Trimmer 150 and 3 Aston Bear finished in 4th. Benalla 140 exact to 16.60. Trifecta $54.50. Big 176 out 6 Room 12 4 1763. 441.50 and 719 pays $158.
ABC News, I'm Virginia Small. Good evening. French security forces have surrounded 2 brothers suspected of carrying out the deadly attack on the Charlie Hebdo magazine. A massive security operation is taking place in the town of Dammartin-en-Guel, where the men are holed up in a building and are said to have a hostage. There are reports the suspected Islamists have said they are prepared to die. Earlier, the men stole a car and exchanged fire with police during a chase down a major motorway. French President François Hollande says the international community is providing plenty of support.
We have witnessed strong international solidarity, especially European one, because we are all concerned. There were operations and attacks against friendly countries, and when something like this happens in France, our friends realize that it can happen in their own countries.
The security situation in France has impacted on flights at the main airport in Paris, which is in the vicinity. Officials at Charles de Gaulle Airport say they have changed landing and takeoff patterns for aircraft in light of the security situation. Police have told people working in the area to stay inside and turn off their lights while the operation is going on. Several helicopters are hovering over the area and hundreds of police cars and armoured vehicles have arrived. Sri Lanka is preparing to swear in its new president following his election victory over the incumbent. The BBC's Jill McGivering reports.
Mahinda Rajapaksa went into these elections confident of winning an unprecedented third term. But in one of the biggest shocks in the country's recent political history, his own friend and ally stood against him. A rush of defections followed. Many were angered by Mr Rajapaksa's increasingly autocratic style and attacks on civil and religious freedoms. The new president and his team promise reform, a more independent judiciary, a shift of power away from the presidency and back to parliament, a drive to tackle corruption and nepotism in public life.
The Victorian Premier, Daniel Andrews, says he will never support increasing the rate of the goods and services tax or broadening it to include fresh food. Some federal government MPs and senators have called for the widening of the GST. But Mr Andrews says increasing it in any way would make a bad tax even worse.
This is an unfair tax and it can't be made fair, and it certainly won't be made any better by putting it on food, the absolute staples of life.
The Queensland opposition is regrouping after the shock announcement that Deputy Leader Tim Mulheron is quitting politics. Leonie Mellor reports.
Tim Mulheron says family and health issues prompted him to quit as the Labor candidate for Mackay just days into the campaign. He's been the local member for 20 years. Mr Mulheron was emotional as he told the ABC his father made him promise to look after his elderly mother shortly before he died late last year.
People in Mackay have been good to me. I hope I've been good to them.
Opposition leader Anastasia Palaszczuk has paid tribute to her colleague.
He has just an amazing depth of intellect. He is one of the true gentlemen of the Queensland Parliament.
Former teacher and union organiser Julianne Gilbert is the new candidate.
The Weather Bureau says thunderstorms currently hovering over South Australia's north could reach the southeast of the state by Monday. The Bureau's acting regional director, John Nairn, says metropolitan Adelaide can also expect a few wet days with 50 to 100 millimetres expected. Roads in the state's far north, including the Birdsville, Udnadatta and Strzelecki tracks, are closed due to flooding. Mr Nairn says the storm is moving more slowly than first expected.
The low is slow moving and a bit erratic in where we can track it. There is an indication that the southeast may see some of its heavier rain on Monday as the low moves away.
Several homes have been flooded following heavy rain in Alice Springs. Police say a large storm hit this city earlier this evening, causing minor flooding to several roads, causeways and a number of homes. The Socceroos have their Asian Cup campaign off to a winning start with a 4-1 victory against Kuwait in Melbourne. Hussein Fadel opened the scoring after 8 minutes, but goals from Tim Cahill and Masamu Luongo saw the home side take a lead into the break. Australian Nile Jedinak converted a penalty in the 62nd after Robbie Cruz was fouled. And now the weather for the major cities. Brisbane, a possible shower, 29. A shower or two developing in Sydney, 30. And a shower or two in Canberra, also 30 degrees. Melbourne, rain, a maximum of 20. Possible showers in Hobart, a top of 19. Adelaide, rain, 24. And Perth, sunny, with a maximum temperature of 30 degrees. Darwin, showers and possible storms, 30. And possible storms and heavy falls in Alice Springs, a maximum temperature of 26 degrees. ABC News. Now, Sydney's weather details. Partly cloudy with a medium chance of showers and a thunderstorm in the afternoon and early evening. Northeasterly winds becoming light in the evening. A temperature range of 23 to 30 on the coast, 23 to 35 in the west. Looking ahead, Sunday showers increasing, 26. Monday a shower or two, 26. And on Tuesday, 29 degrees with a chance of showers. That's the latest weather on 7:02 ABC Sydney.
Nightlife with Jim Brunero.